Hi, Errol.
Hello, and oh, listen to that harmony. My God, you guys have been working together because, I mean, to be in harmony like that, wow.
That's what we do,
Yes,
Errol.
I mean, it's one of those things. A lot of people don't understand that creativity. When we collaborate our energies together, it's amazing how we think the same, we act the same, and we can still be our individual selves, but we do a lot of things in harmony.
Yeah,
Amen.
I agree to that.
I like that.
I got to tell you about this freebie. It took me not even a full second to download this baby and to find out what you guys are all about on this. I mean, it is amazing.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you.
so kind. Thank you for downloading yet another streaming service just for us.
Yeah,
we
but
appreciate you.
It's more than a streaming service because I need that comedy. I need that binge watch. And Sprung is that one thing where we get to center around a subject that's around us, but we're not doing it in a way where you're turning a crime into a right reason. I like a storyline like that.
I think everyone loves a Robin Hood story.
Yes.
And I think, you're right. It's not just a streaming service, which I tell all of my family and friends and, our followers and our fans. It's like we can laugh and heal, and talk about COVID. Even though we're still going through it, I think laughter is just the best remedy.
Now, Phillip, for you, a show like this changes people's lives in the way that people get out of prison every day. And if they see a story like this on Sprung, I mean, it's going to give them an opportunity to find hope and faith in their own personal lives.
Yeah, I think that's a really beautiful part of it. I don't think Greg Garcia, our writer and creator, I don't think he was thinking about it too heavy at all. I think he saw, that this actually happened. He wanted to kind of, use it as a backstory or whatever. But I've gotten a lot of people reach out and say, hey, thank you so much because you're shedding a light on something that's really serious and something that's, definitely an issue in the United States and beyond. But yeah, I think imagine this: you're in prison you have a sentence for 26 years for something that is for weed, for marijuana. Back in
that's basically legal. It's basically legal now.
Now it is, which it's so silly to think about. That for 24 years for something, is your first offense, type thing. So, really, really, just an awful situation. Imagine being in prison and then you get out, and then it's a global pandemic. So that in itself, I think, is just. I don't think we're really laughing at the pandemic. I think we're laughing along at ourselves especially at the beginning part of the pandemic, and our lead character played by Garret Dillahunt, his character's name is Jack. I think he does such a good job in balancing the zany. He definitely has some zany moments, but it's some real stuff, and thank you for asking that question. I think that's a really important topic. But I think Garret does a really good job. He gets out. He's not really sure whether he could touch his face, and he's all of us at the beginning of the pandemic. I mean, you remember that, right?
Yeah, of course I do. March of 2020 is well planted inside my soul because as an entertainer, I lost everything. Now the question was, what can I do as an entertainer to help other entertainers refine their stage? And that's what I love about the community of entertainment. Writers, directors, musicians, and actors. We all came together because we know that real people needed to be in a position to where they could escape. And that's and you're doing it right here with Sprung. You're giving us that continuation of escape.
Yeah, I think it's escapism, but I think also it's how do we come together in a time where we're not allowed to? And I think that's a huge theme in the show is family. The family that we are born with, but then also the family that we get to choose along the way. So we had to our group of actors kind of had to shelter in place at the beginning of the show or whatever, and so then as the story goes, we're dealing with it all together, We're all in the same household like everybody else was. We're trying to figure it out, and how do you? It's just like a lot of fear involved in the early pandemic days, but then also just there's a lot of unknowns in regular life without a pandemic as well. So how do you deal with that? And I think again, Greg did such a great job in balancing the two worlds. You know, I think a great comedy definitely has its funny, slapsticky kind of, oh my God, outrageous moments. But then a good comedy also has real and heartfelt human, moments. So I'm proud to say that this show definitely represents that.
The one thing that I learned in being with so many comedians and stuff like that is if people can't relate with the pain and with the light and stuff like that, then you have no comedy. And they say that's why you've always got to be a people watcher and study the habits of everyday people. And that's what you guys are doing here on Sprung. Because, I mean, Greg Garcia, I realize that he's bringing all this together, but the actors, you guys are going to become iconic, just like My Name is Earl and Raising Hope. He has this way of creating iconic people.
Yeah, it's really interesting to watch his past shows and see, you know, the pattern that exists and like the little cult following, the large cult following that Greg Garcia has. And it just now is coming to fruition for me anyway. Yeah. Is like, wow, this we're a part of this. We're a part of this legacy that he's creating. It's really awesome.
What is it like for the two of you when you get your scripts and all of a sudden you're going, oh, so this is what we're going to turn around this time. How are we going to make this into a point where it's like, yeah, this is it. And then because when you make that connection with the viewer, then we're going, yeah, this is it. And then we become we're basically the influencers by telling people that they got to find it.
Yeah, I think it was fun to kind of see how Greg, because we maybe read the first 4 episodes initially, and then as we went on, and mind you, we're doing our table reads on Zoom. Okay, like we didn't get to be in person, right, Shaq? Like that was kind of an interesting part. We're basically making a show that centers around a pandemic during a pandemic, and then we're going to shoot it. And then we're going to shoot it in 11 weeks in Pittsburgh while the pandemic is still technically going on. So it was definitely interesting to try and figure it out. But you see, as you go along, I think about the 3rd episode, I was like, wow, okay, Greg, he definitely thought about this. He's definitely has a lot of backstory for all these characters, but then he also allows us to take the helm a little bit and say, hey, this is kind of where I want to go with my character. This is kind of where I want to go with, my character's backstory. He was pretty lenient. Anytime you pitched an idea, I was like, hey, yeah, so this is who I would cast as my dad. And he was like, cool. I would send him pictures of me and my facial hair. I'll be like, dude, this is how long I want my mustache. And he's like, okay, cool. So it was definitely a collaborative process, but technically my first experience being a lead in a show, and what better way to do it than in a Greg Garcia comedy?
Wow. Well, I told James and Claire this morning that you guys are headed to the Emmys, and I will say it to you guys too. I can't wait to see you guys up there accepting that trophy.
Wow.
Aww,
Thank you so much.
That's so wonderful.
Well,
yes,
that means a lot. We just watched it. We just watched it last night. So thank you so much.
Manifest that for us, please. Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Please come back to this show anytime in the future. The door is always going to be open for the two of you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Be brilliant.
You're so sweet. Thank you so much.
And you guys be great too, and keep it up with Sprung, because this is going to be the conversation piece of the fall.
Woohoo!
Thank you.
I like the sound of that.